Good afternoon, punters. Thanks for joining us. Racing this weekend at Moonee Valley, and here to talk racing and all things equine, perhaps a few other things as well. Jake Norton, thanks for joining me.
Hugh Taggart, pleasure to be here.
Terrific. We're going to start with the Manikato Stakes over 1,200 metres at weight for age at Moonee Valley.
And good. The first Group 1 of the season, Tags.
First Group 1, we noticed the waft of spring,
There
didn't
was
we,
a
as we
waft.
crossed?
Can't help but just be up and about.
It's a bit of a gale, actually.
I was just going last week. I'm up and about this week, though.
Going to go to the Valley?
To use football parlance. No. You?
No. We'll wait until Cox Plate Day to go to the Valley, I think.
I think so, yeah.
But the Manikato Stakes is headlined by Capiro. He's taken all before him this season, and without a couple of headline acts, I'm thinking mainly of Miss Andretti, who's sort of bobbed up in the sprints and won the sprints, for the last 2 years, really, in Melbourne, isn't there. And another injury to Marasco is going to keep him out. But Capiro, Jake, heads the markets here, and it's going to come up against Absolute Glam, Red Element, All-American, Typhoon Z and Monet Rules and Belmer. So some handy sprinters.
Some very handy sprinters. I'm not.
He's a Valley specialist, isn't he?
He is. I'm not quite sure he's right at that top level. And the only other concern for me is the 6 furlongs. He's won his last 3 at the Valley, over 1,000. He's only had he's had 3 cracks at 1,200 metres and he's won once. So I think he's. I'm not saying 1,000 sees him out necessarily, but he's going to struggle against these top liners with that extra 200 metres in mind. So I would lay him. I'd make him a lay. Yeah,
particularly anything under $4. I think he might go around about 380.
Yeah, I'm really keen on the chances of the first emergency, Red Element, who's David Hayes' sprinter, who ran behind Belmer at Caulfield a couple of weeks ago. He sat outside the pace and was an incredible effort. So if he gets a start, I think he wins. And he's got a good record at the Valley as well. So Red Element is my tip, and Lake Capiro.
Around the $5.50 mark, Red Element, you might be able to get a little bit more on the exchange. The old Fian Stakes, the Data Tan, over 1,600 metres. Again, weight for age, Group 2 this time. But the one runner that I want to point out here, Pompey Ruler.
Yeah.
We'll go through the field, then perhaps we'll come back to him.
Okay, sure.
Pompey Ruler, Simeone, Zipping, Casual Pass, Maldivian, Alamosa Playwright, and Guillotine look to be the main players in this market. It's a cracking race, all perhaps with a view to staying races.
It is.
Spring.
I think this is probably a view to the Cox Plate. I think generally the trainers who have horses that haven't perhaps seen the Valley before put them around in this, and that gives them an idea of the Canberra and the circuit and what have you. But yeah, it's going to be a belter.
Pompey Ruler's last run was absolutely fantastic. The first run for a very, very long time after an injury layoff.
Yeah.
If he wins here, does he go right into the reckoning for the Cox Plate?
I'd have to. I think you'd have to. I mean, he nearly pinched the Cox Plate at his only run at Moonee Valley in 2006. And I mean, if he wins this and he shows he's back to full condition, then he'd have to be well under double figures in the Cox Plate market then, I think, and a challenger to Weekend Hustler.
Has Light Fantastic been ruled out of your Cox Plate calculations?
No, not yet. I'm always cautious of horses second up, and that run from Light Fantastic last week. It did look like a real flop, didn't it? Yeah, he did. He may have just been flat after his first up win. I don't know, but I'm not going to rule him out just yet. I'm going to wait for the Underwood or the Yalumba, wherever they go next with him.
The Stock Stakes is a Group 2 race for mares, and Devil Moon, the very, very handy mare for Mark Kavanagh, is going to back up here again. She appears to have the Melbourne Cup and indeed the Cups in her sights this year. Been trained, it looks a bit more dour. Yeah,
she's not as dashing this year as she was last.
Doesn't quite have the ping that she had last year, and tried to lead and pinch the race at Flemington last week. Yeah. She's going to start a favourite here.
She annihilated a similar field in this race last year when she had a torrid run outside the speed. I just think she'll win this, assuming that she hasn't taken any disadvantage out of last week's run. I know Tuesday Joy apparently had a good gallop earlier this week at the Valley, but I just think if Devil Moon gets a reasonable run in transit, she wins.
Devil Moon, $3.20. Tuesday Joy, $4. Translate, $8. Tuesday Joy, down from Sydney. It's had one go around here. Gay Waterhouse was down to inspect her during the week.
Yep.
Anything from her, or too short still?
No, as I just mentioned before, she had a good gallop apparently, and she's tuned right up for this. They put the blinkers on her to ensure that it was a searching gallop. They gave her a lap round slowly, and then over the mile they ran sort of even time apparently. So she'll be ready to go for this one.
Rose Hill, the Kingston Town Stakes, Red Lord, that's over 2,000 metres, and the Theo Marks, which is a Group 2 race over 1,300. Mentality and Forensics, Hoystar, and a lot of the Sydney weight for age horses that seem to go up against each other every time they race.
Yeah, that would finish 10 lengths behind the horses down here. But Tags, I just wanted to point out one horse in the meeting at Rose Hill, and that's in the 3-year-old race, the Ming Dynasty, a colt by a Choisir called Dreamscape, who defeated in his only lifetime start a couple of horses by the name of Aichi, who of course won here at Flemington last week, and Dewporth, who won the Golden Rose. Watch out for it this spring, and it will win on Saturday. So if you can get any price close to 6 to 4 on, or something towards even money, even if you're lucky, smash it.
Good punting. The Tri-Nations Rugby, which we missed out in our previous segment, it's the Wallabies versus the All Blacks at Suncorp Stadium. The Wallabies $2.82, backs against the wall versus the All Blacks at $1.60. Are they just going to roost the ball up in the air and test us out again?
If they kick it on Adam Ashley Cooper's head again, and he just kicks it back at them, we're going to get flogged again.
We should be $5 plus.
Yeah,
we got a margin?
Not $5 plus. I haven't checked, but yeah, I think the Aussies backline probably got shown up a bit over there in Joburg, and if the All Blacks can replicate what the Saffers did over there, we're stuffed.
No cover at 5/8 either, with Berwick Barnes out.
At 12.
At 12.
He would ordinarily play 12, Gitto at 10. I think the Wallabies are a better side with Barnes at 12 and Gitto at 10, both playmakers. So I think they're going to find it a little difficult.
Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you again next week with another edition of Spruikers.